Hey, joy creators. Welcome back to Create a Magical Day, the podcast where we dive into all things joy, mindfulness, and making each day a little brighter. Yes, I am your host, Joyful Jania, and I'm here to share some simple ways we can all add a little spark of joy to these busy lives that we have. Today, I'm excited. I have a super special guest and friend joining us. Andrea TheoJohn. Andrea, she is a powerhouse in branding. I know, and a true joy seeker. She's the brilliant mind behind the ADS agency and has been creating joyful experiences for her clients. Oh my gosh, it's been like for over 15 years, but it doesn't stop there. Andrea is not only a branding expert, she's also a master storyteller who spent transformative year in Scotland. That is so cool. And now she's writing a book about how it changed her life. I cannot wait to talk to her about that. In this episode, we'll dive into Andrea's unique approach to joy, from her end of day reflection practice to the small moments that help her stay grounded and grateful. Plus, we'll chat about her recent wedding anniversary and her reflections on joy in both life and marriage. Today, we're sprinkling joy into your day. Welcome to the Create a Magical Day podcast. Hey, joy creators. Hey. Welcome back. Are we ready for some joy sprinkles? I have a question. What's the first thing that makes you smile every morning? Is it a cup of coffee, tea, a song, maybe a little dance? I'll tell you something that I love to do in the morning besides sip my tea and blow bubbles. Well, I guess that's it. Those are two of my favorite things to do in the morning because I talk about them all the time. Yes, I always make my tea every morning, and it just makes me feel so warm and cozy, even on a hot day. So I am just so excited about today because I cannot wait to chat with a fellow joy creator, Andrea TheoJohn, and just talk about like her eye. She has such a unique and beautiful eye for life, and I love how you see it just like woven throughout her life, not just her profession like with branding, but then also her personal life. Now, before we dive in and we bring her on, I have a joy challenge for you. Are you ready? I want you to take 30 seconds to think about one thing that has brought you joy today. And I want you to hold on to that feeling as we jump into this episode and welcome Andrea to the Create a Magical Day podcast. I'm so excited. All right. Andrea's with us. Oh my gosh. I am so excited to have you on the podcast. Welcome to Create a Magical Day.
Thank you so much, Joyful Jania. It's wonderful to be here, especially with you. This is like divine timing for today. So thankful to be here with you.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I want to start with a card, if you're cool with that, because you already know this about me, that I am obsessed with affirmation cards.
Yes, bring it.
Yes. Okay. So this one is from Spirit Junkie. Have you heard of Gabrielle Bernstein?
No.
Oh, she does like a lot with like mindfulness, manifestation. Just self-help, all the things self-help. So I found her cards and I was like, ooh, I like these. All right. So you tell me to stop. And then the one that's on top is the one that I'm going to pull.
And stop.
All right. So this one says, my power lies in my peaceful presence.
Ooh, good for today.
So tell me, how does this resonate for you?
You know what? Are we allowed to say what day this really is? So
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Okay. At the time of this recording, it's the day after the election, and I did not get my pick. And, so I think people have varying feelings about that. I've definitely been in my feelings like all day. And I've like almost immediately, so many of my friends, especially my super biblical friends, they were like immediately on it. They were like, peace, 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 peace.
Oh.
You know, Jesus is peace. God reigns. Everybody, right? You know, like control, you know, and I get that, like that's a good immediate go-to. But I was mad and I was like, I don't want to be peaceful right now. I said I can be peaceful if I want to, but I don't want to. It's like you just let me be mad for 2 seconds, okay? Like I just need 2 seconds to be upset about it. And then I'm gonna get over it and get over myself and I'm gonna get back to my normal little day. You know, that's how I felt. So like that was meant for me because that is God and the universe and all the things saying, Andrea, you just calm your little self. You calm your little self. You be peaceful. I'm not going to storm the Capitol, but I am going to be peaceful. But it's just so much to process. It's like a grieving process for me to experience this day. So it's really testing the bounds of like what peace is and what joy is. But what's also good is that I know when I'm ready, when I allow myself, I know it's not a problem to get there in a peaceful place once I've kicked all the tires and everything.
But you know what? I love what you're saying because even though I talk about joy, I also talk about we can't deny the other feelings. Like today I made a post and I said, for some people, it's a sad day. For others, you're celebrating, right? But for those who are feeling it in their body, feel it. Like, don't just go to, oh, well, like I told you, I processed everything because this week has been weird for me just because I'm a middle-aged woman. But, but like, and just like my emotions. And instead of like, nope, I'm only going to feel joyful. Like, this is how I really feel. And I think that that's important. And you know what you want to reach for. So like you said, when you're ready, then that's when you'll be able to experience more joy. Because you know what? If we're not ready to experience something else, it doesn't matter what we do. Like it'll be very challenging to get there because there's so much resistance.
Yes, that's so good. Well, I'm sorry if you talk about this on your podcast so much. Maybe not, because you have so many things, so many sources of joy to speak from. But you know that movie that's like got the joy character in it with all your emotions, and there's like anger and jealousy or whatever, all sadness, like the antithesis of joy. And so I just think about that character so much. And you're right about like the balance of emotions. They all have their place. So as long as we don't like dwell and get stuck in the sadness or the anger,
right?
I think we're in a good, happy balance of where we need to be. So thank you for being so kind of allowing that balance for people today.
Of course. I mean, we should every day. I feel like it's a form of giving ourselves grace to allow us to feel all the feels, whatever that looks like, and then identify like, how do we want to feel? Whether that's happy, peaceful, joy, whatever your word is. So since today we're talking about joy, I want to ask you, what is something lately that's brought you joy?
Lately. Oh, well, it's so sad. Well, it fell off up here. I'm looking at my plant over here at the window. So I posted about this. You may or may not have caught it. But I have this plant over here that has been growing for all year long. I got it when it was like a little seedling from Home Depot or somewhere. And it said it was a flowering plant. It puts a little picture on it. It's got pink flowers. And I was like, oh, that looks bright and cheery. I'm going to have one flowering plant in my little office. I've got 3 over here. So this is my one flowering one.
Okay.
All year it has not flowered at all, but I do take care of it. Like I just keep nurturing it. I keep like randomly fussing over it. Like maybe it likes the light over here. Like, I'm going to feed it some eggshells and maybe it wants some calcium.
I love it.
Like, come on, the flowers, you can do it. So this past month in October, it finally bloomed. It finally bloomed its first little flower. And I didn't even see it happen. I didn't even know it was coming. I didn't even realize it was happening. And I just came back from this trip from the beach as like a marriage retreat thing. And I just looked over and I noticed it. And I was like, oh, my flower, it's a flower. Like just that. It's so small. It's so small, but it's just so rewarding to see that bloom. It's since fallen off. I don't know what I did.
It's the cycle of life, right?
It's a quick flower. It's a quick bloom. But
It was a quick joy. It was a quick joy win.
it was really fun. I got a picture of it, so I can like cherish my little picture. Like if it never flowers again, we had the one flowers.
Oh my gosh, I love that. But you know what? To me, that's what joy is. It's those small wins, those like small moments that just light us up. And I love how a simple bloom could do that for you, and that you acknowledge that, the joy in that.
It really did. I was so happy about that. And then, I was trying to be all deep with it, with like everything. I was like in my fitness group, like fitness people, this is what our fitness is like. It's gonna you keep working on it, and then one day you're gonna fit in those pants, girl. And I was like, what's the business spin? Business has a spin on this. Like I was putting in all the things. I was like, check out this business people. Like this is so good with this flower.
But I love that. Like how, look, my mom always talks about alignment in life, right? Like how you're one bloom aligned in all these different areas and the joy created.
It was working. It was working. Yeah. I felt bad for all the people who are connected to me in all the places. They're like, girl, this flower story is everywhere.
I love the flower story. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you just said you got back and you said from a marriage retreat. So I wanted to ask you like lessons from marriage. So I know that you recently celebrated your wedding anniversary and you were the 40-year-old bride. I love the story. I'm always following you and Mark. But I know that each year you reflect on something new that you've learned in your marriage. And so this one was focused on like you're being open to growth and dreaming together. First of all, I love what did you call it? Flex retirement?
Flex retirement. Yeah. I learned that from a client. I learned that like reading stuff for a client. Yeah. Flex retirement is supposed to be the new thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what's one key reflection from this past year that stands out to you, and how has that shaped your approach to your relationship? I mean, I know lots of things, but share all the things.
Yeah, I know you do. The biggest like aha moment for me was to free yourself from expectations. That it is such a joyful, good thing to, because I'm so glad that I went to this marriage retreat. My sister organized it, and I'm so, so proud of her and her husband, like her and her husband and then another friend couple, they put it on together. And I didn't know my sister was such a little minister. Like she just like, she was like bringing the word, in a good, relatable way, not like preachy, but just has so much good knowledge in her. I was like, ooh, girl, where did that come from? But, I'm sure it's like my dad or something since he's a pastor. But one of the things she shared, being vulnerable and everything, was about, it was about how our dad is, he's like one of the old school men who will do all the things. He can fix a car. He can change the oil. He was like, when we apparently didn't have very much money, he would like siphon gas with a hose.
Oh, okay, Daddy.
Like get gas from his truck over to my mom's car or vice versa so they could share gas. Like he's an outdoors guy. He will do all the outdoors things. Very manly, can do all that. And just always up and about, moving and doing stuff, and very helpful. And so she talked about how she basically expected that from her husband, because she's like, this is our model for a husband. This is what husbands do. This is what men do in a marriage. And her husband could not be like more opposite. And she and I both married similar guys. I'm sure she thought like, of course he's like dad, because why? All men are like dad. Like, aren't they?
Right.
So she has it even worse because she met him in high school. But so from her, I learned that a lot of her angst and things she was mad about in her marriage was because she had all these expectations of him, her husband, what he should be doing, how he should be treating her, how he should, not that all those are wrong, but they're just not the same person. And so when she freed herself from expecting that and allowed him to be who he is, just the guy that he is, the guy that she married, and letting go of all those expectations that she had of him, things got a lot easier. Everything was better, but it just got easier. She had a lot more peace, and peace and joy, I feel like they go together. And so when she said that, it really clicked for me. Like, I'm doing that to my husband. I'm telling him, like, why don't you tromp around the woods like my daddy?
And Mark's like, nope, because that ain't me.
That he's like, I grew up in LA, I'm like, okay, okay. It really was like, they're not the same person. Like, but we have, like, especially little girls, it's the classic, like, the dream of how you envision your life, and your little Prince Charming coming to save you from your parents or something, Yes. It's freeing to consider you're building something unique for you, and you two are unique, and your marriage can be something really special that's different from all the other marriages, and it can be a very good thing all by itself. But you have to give it space to be what it's going to be by itself. You know what I mean? So that's like the most interesting thing that I learned.
That's a beautiful aha and takeaway. So how have, like, and I know that you're just getting back from your retreat, but like with that shift in mindset, like, have you noticed anything different about, like, even how you look at Mark, or like the expectation when he walks in the room or something?
Yes, all the time. I just look at him different, and I'm like, look at that hunky man, But I'm also like I find myself being a lot more patient than I was before. And one of the things they taught us is about, like, just personality, communication styles, which, like, you and I are both I think very highly emotionally intelligent people. Some of, I'm kind of like, I know all that. I know all about personality types and blah, blah, blah. But to think about it in the context of your husband and what kind of person he is, or your partner, whomever you're with, the type of person he is and how he communicates, how he needs to be communicated to before he shuts down, or before he, trumps off and like, I'm not doing it. Like, it's just so revealing to consider. So now I look at him and I'm like, let me think about this situation, and how is the best way to get what I want? It's like low-key manipulative, but also like it's a good way, because if I speak to him how he needs to be spoken to, chances are I will likely get what I want also. So it's good.
Yeah. So would you say that has helped to increase joy within you personally, and maybe within your relationship, even in this short amount of time?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. It takes the relationship to a new level, which I love. I think us as women in particular, we're always seeking to go deeper.
Yeah.
Because we want those connections, and sometimes I've learned, like, sometimes those connections are better with girlfriends. Like some of that stuff is girlfriend. Yeah. But we still want that deep connection with our partner, and I feel like the deeper we can go, the more interesting it becomes, and the more bonded you are, and that just makes it a stronger thing. And so, yeah, I love all that. Anything that works for that, I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful, and thank you for sharing that. So speaking of interesting, I mean, obviously I've known you for several years, and I've always thought that you were this really, I use the word neat, like interesting, neat person, because like outside of you just being like this brand expert, but I love how you incorporate branding throughout your life, and like who you are. Like you're a beautiful storyteller of life.
Oh,
And so I didn't know you when you were in Scotland. I just knew, like, you know, once you came back, and then at some point, like, I met you. Can you talk a little bit about like what inspired you to go there for the year? Are you still working on your book? Like what are the joys of Scotland? I think that's so neat, and all a part of like your storytelling piece.
thank you. Yeah, since I've ever started writing that book, like I started to feel like maybe the book isn't so special sometimes, because lots of people have gone overseas and done that, similar thing. Not everybody writes about it, but so I feel a lot of pressure sometimes to like write the thing, and then also my business is still the most important thing. It's always like the side burner project. Like, you will get finished, little baby project. God willing. But yeah, I went over there for work at the time, way before I started this business. Yeah, I got over there and was there for a year, and it just changed my whole world. Just the view from over there. America does affect the world. At the time Barack was president, so it was very interesting. Like, people were such fans of him. Like, I didn't even ask people for their opinions. They just knew I was American. They just volunteered it, and at the time, Scotland was like voting for their independence, with whether they were going to be. It was a yes vote or a no vote, whether Scotland was going to be an independent country.
Okay.
And so there were people who were real into politics, and it was really hot back then. But people were such fans of Barack, and it was interesting to hear all their perspectives. And it's just a life-changing thing. Even though America is a big deal, like, there on their news, you still hear about the rest of the world. Like, right now, we're going to only hear about our election for the next weekish or more.
Right.
Over there, you'd hear about it, and then the rest of the 80% of the news will be about, here's what's happening in Turkey, here's what's happening in Australia, here's the big thing that's going on in Africa right now, with they're about to kill each other. But you would never hear that in the US. We just don't hear that news because we're so US focused. We're just so US centric. So it's just a different eye-opening experience to like remove yourself from our like media bubble. Yeah. It was like a detox in a way to kind of refresh yourselves. And I lived as a pedestrian over there, so I was losing all this weight, and I didn't even know it. And I was like,
like, I don't even have to try. So what were some of like the joys that you experienced being over there?
I'm not gonna say the weather, because it's like rainy cold, but like, once you have good like sploshy rainy weather clothes, and your feet don't get leaked on because they're bad shoes. They're cute, they're not good enough, or they're not weatherproof. Like, once you have all the gear and you're all bundled up and stuff, it's fun. It's almost kid-like to like run around, rush around in the cold, wet rain. That seems weird and odd, but like, think puddles when you're a little kid, you're splashing around. Like, that's like,
I love that.
It's always rainy, so then you like kind of get used to the rain. There was one, this lady's father said he doesn't even feel the rain on his face. Like, he could just go outside and it rains so much, like, he's so used to it. It's like second nature for him. And so when it does actually sunshine, it's an experience. I think it must be like how it is in Seattle for people, where they're like this sun break and everybody goes out and get 20 degrees outside, and these Scottish people will be out there with their flip-flops, and everybody has Ray-Ban sunglasses, and they're gonna throw out the barbecue, and like, it's summertime. Like,
how fun.
But it's a cool place. It's way too much to see. It's like if you were in the US for the year for the first time, like, you could not see it all. But it's gorgeous. The people are wonderful.
Wait, and what part were you in?
Glasgow, which
is. And how far is that from Edinburgh? Wait, is that how you pronounce it? Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, they say.
Edinburgh. Which is where I went. How far are those from each other? Do you know?
It's like a train ride. Like I would say it's less than an hour. It's like probably 40-minute train ride or something. Don't quote me. It's been a while.
Okay. So where you were, like, were there castles? Like, I know there was a castle, like, where I was, like, anything like that?
Yeah, they were cool castles. They're very romantic. Like there's this place called Isle of Skye, and it's just gorgeous, like up in the Highlands where they did all of the James Bond movies. And not all of them, but so many James Bond movies. I didn't even know James Bond was like Scottish, like before, like I didn't even realize until I moved there.
How cool. I didn't either.
Yeah, there's all really cool, like quirky things. Like, I mean, now, sadly, this is so sad to admit, but this was almost a decade ago now. And these little chips on our cards that we have, these little chips, back then, like America, we weren't really into chips back then, like a decade ago. But it apparently originated in Scotland. Somebody invented it in that area. And so they were the first to have it. So it was very prevalent there way before we got them. And so I arrived with my normal little plastic and they were like, you can't tap. They were like, that's so primitive. It's like, okay.
Like, excuse me.
They're so adorable. I was like, and they're so serious about certain things. It's just so funny. They're little quirky little ways. But it's just fun to like shake up your world and learn that cookies are biscuits and chips are crisps and whatever. Like it's just interesting way to shake up your world. And one of this I can go on and on forever with you about this, but one of the other cool things was I used to think there were no Black people in Scotland, and then
okay,
because I never saw anyone, and I was looking it up, and I was like, oh, it's because it's like less than 1% of the population or something ridiculous like that. And so I was in this Black Americans in the UK group or something, or Scottish group, whatever it was. And I was like, there's no Black people in Scotland. Oh, women in the UK, American women in the UK group on Facebook.
Okay.
It's so interesting. There's no Black people here. And this one chick who was Black, like immediately piped up. She's Haitian. And she was like, yes, we are, girl. We're here. And I was like, well, where are you at? Because I'll never see you. Yeah. She's like, trustedly, we're here. And like, ever since, and she became like a really good friend after that. She like kidnapped me to Edinburgh and all this. And she runs like this, because she can cook. And she runs like this fried chicken festival in Perth.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, she's all the rage. But it was interesting because once the weather started warming up and it was like summer and all that, all of a sudden Black people were around. And I was like, oh, you've just been holed up in your house.
Like a little warmth. Yeah. Not all that cold.
Hot tea, it like warms you up. That's why people are like all about, I know you love your tea.
Look, I got my tea right now. I stay with the tea. It's because it brings me so much joy. Well, I want to know, like, so I know that you've had your company for 15 years plus, right? Like, how many years has it been?
It's 8, but it feels like that long. It feels like it could be easily that. Okay. I definitely have been in the marketing branding space for that long. Yes.
Okay. So that's it. So, of course, you really helped with me this year identifying like how I want my audience to feel, the some of the look, and you just really helped me with my message, right? And I felt like every time we met, there was always like, yes, aha moment. Like I already said, you're so creative already. And I love how you just intertwine branding and storytelling throughout your life. So I want to know, like, as it relates to like how you factor joy into your branding process. Like, how does that merge? Because I know that my experience was very joyful. And every time I've connected with you, like when you were helping like Mad Miracles, it was always like very joyful. So how did those come together for you with your clients?
Oh, good. Thank you. I'm so glad it was a joyful process. I'm sure a lot of that was because you yourself are so joyful, you and your mom. Hi, Jess. I think for most clients, I think one of the most joyful things I have in that process is there's always a sense of purpose around what people are doing. In a perfect world, the best clients are the ones who have a sense of purpose about their business or their brand, whatever it might be. And so purpose, I feel, is so very connected to joy. Zig Ziglar, one of my favorite people, said something like, you can have, this is not the direct quote, I always mess it up. It's basically like this. He says, you can have anything you want in this world if you'll just give enough other people what they want. And business and brand, personal brands and all that, it's all about ultimately helping others get something they want. There's a lot of joy and purpose, and that transformation, helping people get to the transformation they want to see, that can be very, very joyful for people, them getting rid of a problem, them getting to their next level of life, whatever it is that your product service helps them do. And yours is very unique in that way because, it's very much related to joy, which everybody wants more of. That transformation piece is a really happy place, typically, if you're doing it right. I had a client recently who literally cut out an element of their business because it didn't bring them joy. And they were like, why am I doing this? They were like, we can't stand doing this. And we just decided we're not going to do it. And I was like, we talked about it because I was like, number one, kudos to you for realizing like this needs to go because we're not going to do it. We just can't stand it. Just because you can do it doesn't mean that you should. They thought about it a long time, and it was a great decision, so sometimes it's letting go of stuff that is not going to bring you joy and is not for you. Like some stuff you can't get around, some stuff you just got to do it until you can get somebody else to do it.
Right.
But for the stuff you can afford to let go and you don't have to do it, that was so good. And I was like, yes, girls, do it. Cut that baby off. We don't have to have it.
Oh, you know what though? I love that letting go piece. So the first thing you said was passion, and then, not passion. You said purpose. So we had purpose and letting go.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like purpose, letting go, and joy come together? Like bringing those three together, because that's so powerful, even outside of business.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Because, okay. So purpose, I think that's a big, big element of it for the reasons we stated, I bet you watched that show called Blue Zones. It was Blue Zones on Netflix. That was
I didn't watch it, but I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
You would love it.
Let me write it down right now.
Yes, you would love it. It doesn't take long. It's not even that many episodes. You can get through it so fast. Like you can get through it on a weekend. But it's so good. And it's all about studying how people got to be centenarians and live to be 100 plus in these areas, like how, and hands down, one of the key elements was purpose. Like once someone feels like they don't have purpose in their life is when they start kind of withering, like, why am I even here? I don't know, nobody needs me, but knowing that you're needed, knowing that you make a difference in some way is so, so key.
Mm-hmm.
But so you said time altogether. Purpose.
Oh, I know, because I just like threw things together. But purpose, letting go, and joy.
Letting go and joy. Yeah. So the purpose is definitely tied to joy. The letting it go also tied to joy because, if something's weighing you down, this was so good. Okay, you're going to have to do this. You and your mom will do this at some point. It's such a good exercise. So we took these white balloons and blew them up just with air. And then we wrote on it, like, this is at the marriage retreat, all the positive things of a beautiful, what we think of as a beautiful, perfect, happy marriage would have, really great things on it. Some of that stuff was like peace. Some of it was like really good, we'll just call it intimate moments and things like that. Affection, all that. Right. Connection, bond, trust, honesty. You can just imagine all the good things. Mm-hmm. Blew them all up on all these balloons, one word on a balloon, and put them in a garbage bag. And then we tossed it around in a little circle. And it was really fun. It was light. It was easy to do. And then they took a small little black balloon filled with water or something and stuck it in the bag. And then we had to try to do the same thing and toss it around. And that small little heavy balloon made that bag so erratic. It was so hard to, like, we were scared of the balloon. We were scared of the bag. We were like, I don't want to touch it because it's so erratic. Like, it hit you in the face. We were like, this bag is scary. And that's the thing of letting go. That's the thing of, all of the toxicity, the stuff that's holding us back, the stuff that's the fighting and the arguing and the whatever. That's in a marriage. But in in everything else in life, like, what are the things holding us down, weighing us down that we really should let go of, that we think we have to hold on to, but we don't have to. And that's tied to joy too, because sometimes we get so caught up in the drama of something to release it. Sometimes people have been in it so long, they're like, what do I do with myself?
And then we just get used to it and it becomes a norm, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, just the fact that you can recognize what that heavy stuff is to let go of is so big, and that releases some weight. I think that's part of what joy is the lightness, but also a deep fulfillment with that purpose piece. So yeah, cutting off the dead weight and bringing up the stuff that's good, purposeful, and joy-filled. That's just a good recipe for levity and apparently longevity, according to the Blue Zone people. So
yes. So okay, what would you say to a person, or what tips would you give someone who is just struggling to find purpose? And we'll go back to, like, even your business and what you do. Like, how do you help people move through that? Because whatever you do to help someone through business, I'm sure it's helpful even in life.
What I do know is that it's related to what sparks joy for you. What lights you up. It's paying attention to the things that that actually make you happy, that make you excited is another clue. What makes you excited? Oftentimes in business, we hope that the business that they're in does that. But honestly, Chania, like, so many times, people really are just doing business for money, but even the ones who seemingly on the surface are only doing it for money, it seems so transactional. Usually there's a point you can dig down to where it seems like they really care about something there. It's usually the relationship, or it's usually how they can help someone because of their expertise in something, even with something like as seemingly as unsexy as insurance, which you're like, oh my gosh, everybody. But people, somebody somewhere has to sell somebody some insurance,
Right.
Even that, there's some there's some joy and helpfulness in insurance as well. Helping people live a peaceful life and get the thing that they want to get, so that they know their family's protected. No matter what happens, they've got it. Especially when something happens that always triggers it. So there's always a way to connect it to something meaningful. And I think that's the key. And it usually always is helping someone. It's always around helping someone. Back to that Zig Ziglar quote.
Right.
It's always how we're helping someone, using our gifts, using our talents. So, that for people who are just starting out, they don't know, they're starting a business, but they're like, I'm not really sure. What should it be? It's probably tied to your gifts, your talents, your expertise. What you're good at, the things people are always complimenting you on, like, you're so good at organizing stuff. Like, how do you do it? You're so organized. Whatever it is, people are always complimenting you on it. And they're like, you're really great at this. Like, you're my go-to for this. That's probably purpose. That sounds like purpose. At least at a minimum, it's something you're good at. You're good at, it's needed. The little extra sauce is like when it's also something you love. So, because a lot of people are good at some things that they're like, they don't really want to do it, but they're doing it because they're good at it. But if you also are good at it and you can love it, that's the magic.
So then How did you know that branding was for you? Because like I said, I see like your life in general. And when I say like how you brand your life, I'm not saying you're going through and you're like, okay, it has to be these colors here on this picture or this here. But I'm just saying just like how you align it throughout your entire life, and you're passionate about it. How did you know for you that that was your purpose?
I did not know until I was way off in this like graduate program. I was getting my MBA, and I was a little lost child at that point, like in my 20s. I had just said no to medical school. For a long time, I thought medicine was going to be my thing.
Okay.
That's a whole nother story related to Ben Carson before he got political. I decided against medicine. I was like, oh, Andrea, you're just doing that because it looks good and it's, it's good money and like it's respected and blah, blah, blah. But again, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And I was very lost and wasn't sure what to do. I just decided that, where I was at Clemson, there was an MBA program and the rest of the world was business, outside of it, even, and now knowing what I know, even medicine is business, but, the rest of the world was business. I had no business background. Nobody in my circles, no one in my family was in business that I knew of. Not in our immediate family. We had no entrepreneurs. Everybody was, and there were education. There were educators, administrators, supervisors, but everybody in education.
Okay.
They heard that I didn't want to do medicine. They were like, you should teach at the CDC or do some research,
Mm-hmm.
Ew, no. I'm gonna do research.
That's not beautiful. No.
Does that sound like me? When I was a little girl, this is so funny, Julia. So when I was a little girl, they ask you, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Yeah.
And I have not had the words for it. I've never been exposed to it, but I literally told the teacher, I was like, I'm just going to be in beautiful places, beautiful people, surrounded by beautiful things. And like, that was my answer.
I love that answer.
I know you can relate because you're like, all your stuff is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I had no idea. I mean, that could be so many things. That could be interior design. That could be art. That could be a million different things. I'm sure my teacher was like, next,
Like, we'll see how far she goes in life. No.
So interesting. So the MBA program, that was the first time I ever had exposure to the field of marketing and branding as a discipline.
Oh, okay.
I did not know. I had no idea it even existed. And it was literally like light bulb moment. Like, oh, wow, people do this and they get paid. They get paid to do this. Like, there's money for this. And it's just all then, to the point about like knowing where your purpose is, then all the things I used to get complimented on as a little young student. And even in grad school, people were like, my little teachers would be like, whenever you need a presentation, who are y'all going to see? It's Andrea, we want her. It's just all the little things came together, a little coloring contest, a little writing, all the things came together. And I was like, dang, it all fits in this space. It's so cool. Like, how did I not know this before? It's a little bit like how Mark says when architects walk in buildings and they look all around and they just have that moment where they're like, an architect was all over this building. And I feel like that about marketing. Like, everything you look at, this name badge, well, I made this myself, but this car, these books, all of it, even our phones, even our little iPhone, some marketer at some point had their hands on it. And it blew me away. And I just felt like it was definitely like, I don't want to say destiny, but it's definitely my space. I was like, this feels good. Like, this feels like my people. And that's how I found it.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, being like, I know you're an entrepreneur and you have your own personal life. how do you have like the work-life balance so then you are still like experiencing joy? Like, what are some things that you do that are helpful for you? So you still love your job and you love your personal life.
Yes. You know what I've learned like lately is because I work from home mostly, but and I used to feel like, especially like when I had no help at all, and it was really just me, and you know, it's so easy, especially like this is so relatable for people who do remote work. You just have to get out of the house. You just get out, get some fresh air. You gotta go see some things. You gotta go like, and it's so inspiring to do that as well. Like just to be in a different environment that is beautiful. That is, you know, you're getting served something fresh you didn't have to make yourself.
Right.
You know, and it's especially inspired places, like really well crafted, and or places that are in nature, you know, because that's always so helpful. It's like instant, I don't want to say instant joy, but it really is, you know, like fresh air and sunshine.
Yes.
Even crisp fall, like I don't think we've hit peak. I think we are in peak fall here.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful there.
We have so many leaves.
Gosh, I love it.
But yeah, I mean, something is
Inspiring
like that.
places.
Yeah, just getting out, getting fresh air. I love mural hunting. So if I can take some time to like, yes, I love it. Like I literally would go Google to death, like the best murals. And then I'll go like look for specific murals and I'll see if I can find them. And sometimes they're still there. Sometimes they're not, you know, sometimes it's got painted over for something else, but it's so fun.
That's so fun. What a fun tip.
Yeah, it's real fun. I love that.
So you know what I like what you're saying is you are, you know, I talk about joyful moments, right? Like you're creating these little moments throughout your day that's helping you to like even break up, like you said, whether you're at home or there's like the hustle bustle. And I think that's key to like whether you are an entrepreneur or like you said, you're working remote, or even if you're in the office, right? It's like breaking up your day, creating those moments where you can like, take a deep breath, see a different like scenery to break things up. I even talk about like if you're in the office, is there another little area you can go work in? Can you bring some other things to your desk? Can you go out for lunch? I have to remind myself because I work remote to get out to sometimes I'll work in my kitchen. Sometimes I will work outside. And then sometimes I'll work in my office to try to like move that around and kind of keep the joy flowing. So that, I really like, I like those tips, and I like the mural hunting.
Yes, mural hunting and events. I also, you know, as much as like it takes so much work to drive somewhere and like get ready for an event and all that, I always enjoy it. Like once I'm there, I always enjoy it. I'm always like beforehand, I'm like, why did I sign up for this? Why did I pay money for this? Why? And then I'm like, I can't afford the time. No. And then I get there and I'm like, this is great. I love it. You know?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh man. Okay, so one of the tips that you were going to share is an end of day reflection where you take time to journal. So can you tell us what that experience has been like for you, and like how does it make you feel?
You know what is so good? So, you know what made me do this so much is my little fitness group. It's not so little anymore. There are like 200,000 people in this fitness group. It's a lot.
That is not little.
Yeah, it's gotten bigger. It's gotten big. But it's such an interesting little small community because it's so big. But you still find like your people in there, and you know, like stuff in there can go viral. Like the same post that you could do on your little Facebook page where it's just your family friends, like that may get 20 likes. In a group like that, it's nothing for it to get like 700,000 likes overnight if it's good, you know. So I used it as like a little writing flex space. Like, you know, they want you to post every day so that you can like as an accountability piece. So, you know, it's supposed to be fitness focused. And so I do, you know, make it around like my steps and what I do and whatever I do from a fitness perspective, my water and nutrition. but then because it's so boring after a while, like it's like, especially certain people, like they always have the same pose. It's the same pose.
So funny.
It's like, it's the same little routine. I did this circuit, and I did 50 push-ups and blah, blah. Who cares? We care, but we don't care. Like, you did it every day. It's the same thing every day. So like,
and just like break it up.
Yeah, this sheer need to break up the monotony. I started using that as like my journaling space, and I was like, either people will like it or they won't, but I will like it, and especially because we can write this daily post in here. And so recently one girl was like, your posts are too long, and I said, that's okay. I have no way twisting your arm to read it, girl. But
just don't read it. No.
But it's really cool because a lot of people end up saying like, oh, that was really fun, inspiring. So it's just taking like something from your day. What I do, take something from my day and I'm putting my own little spin on it. And usually it's related to relating it back to life, or sometimes relating it to fitness, and that's what it's about. But usually, like, I told my flower story in there, and they were like, oh, girl, I needed that. And I was like, yeah, girl, it was good. Like, so it's just a cool way to reflect on something interesting in your day. It could be good or bad, but it's just extracting a lesson from it. Like, what's the lesson in today? Because there's literally a lesson. Like, you can extract so many lessons, like every little moment if you wanted to, but throughout the whole day, what was the most meaningful thing that came up for you? And it's just such a good time to reflect and consider. And sometimes there's a lot of gratitude that comes up for that. Sometimes there's some, self-pride, like I'm really proud of myself for doing something. And, that helps with confidence and all those good things and filling up your cup in a good way. So usually it's a positive spin, 99.999%. Today, it's going to still end up positive because I talked to you.
You're going to choose peace.
Yeah. My journey to peace today.
Right? Like, that's what you can write about, how I got to peace. I'm not there just yet. Wait, give me a minute. No.
I did do my steps. I did do that. So.
There you go. Oh my gosh. I love that reflection. Thank you so much for sharing that exercise. So for those of you who are listening, who are watching, try that, whether it is in a journal or if you find a group. Andrea, have you heard of Substack?
Yeah.
You have. Okay. I've started like posting in there just a little, playing around with it. That's also like a fun place. So yeah, I love that reflection. One of the things I do, I haven't started writing it because I journal in the morning, but at the end of my day, I reflect on the best thing that's happened that day. And I'll typically do that and then fall asleep, but that's still something fun to reflect on and then drift off to sleep, like thinking about the best thing, some of the good things, those joyful glimmers.
Yeah, something good. That's a perfect way to fall asleep. And then you're not like going to sleep thinking about like, oh, there's all the million. My husband's really good about like he has such sleep anxiety and all this going on, like, because his brain is so full of like all the stuff he has to do for work and this. And he's like, oh, I got so much to do. And he can't quiet his brain. Like his heart's quieting his mind. And so I try to work with him a lot. So that's one of the good things. I'm like, you need to just like do an end of the day thing, a little woosah, And so sometimes when he focuses on it, he can do it. But yeah, I get that it's like hard for people, especially kids. Like he has so much going on. It's hard to turn it off. But it means so much to be able to quiet your mind a little bit and clear it out, because there's so much that gets crammed at it all day long,
Yeah, no.
Clear it out for the day.
Look, wind down. Yes. Well, oh my gosh, Andrea, this has been so much fun. So the last thing I want to do is, I do this for everyone, is rapid fire joy questions. So there are a few. I'm going to ask you whatever comes to mind. That's what I want you to say. Okay. So the first question is, what parts of your morning routine bring you joy?
What part of My steps, because steps and coffee and water. Okay, that's three things. Sorry.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Steps, coffee, water. Okay.
So I have this walking pad in my desk now with like this little raised area. It's so good. Like, I got it at the beginning of August, and ever since, I have not missed a day where I did not get my 10,000 steps. Girl, it's so good. And I love it. And so, like, what I'll do is get half of it done at the beginning of the day. It takes like 40 minutes maybe. And I'll just be sitting there checking the email. It goes so fast. Like, by the time you do a few emails and look around on Facebook and respond to some stuff, like, it goes by like this. And so, yeah, it's so good. And then you feel like so accomplished because you're like, half my day is under wraps, like with this stuff.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
And the same thing with like the little stuff, like making your bed. So like when you go to bed at night, you feel like you're in a little hotel bed with all your little pillows.
All the pillows. Yes. Like, take. Yes. Turn the sheets back. I spray my lavender spray.
Oh, okay. I need to do that.
Okay. Next question. How do you wrap up your evening to ensure you are going to bed feeling joyful?
Okay. The best version of that, this does not always happen, but the best version is so cliche, but literally is the hot sunsy bubble bath.
Ooh, okay.
It's such a treaty thing for me. So I love that. It's so calming. And you just listen to whatever music and chill out. And just those little lux. I mean, I know it's just a bath, bubble bath, but it's bubbles and it's a bath. So it's awesome. And you feel amazing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Next question. How do you stay committed to joy?
Oh gosh. I don't know that I have a purposeful commitment to joy, but I would probably say that literally the end of the day, exercise of writing and focusing on like a lesson is typically a joyful thing, because it's now because it is such a big group that I post in, like now I feel so purposeful about making sure that it is motivating in a way that feels authentic and uplifting for whoever may read it. And people do say, whether they're like lying about it or not, they're like, I love this. This was helpful for me today. I need to hear this. And I'm like, yay, good, it worked,
Yes. Oh, that's a good feeling.
I love that.
Okay. And the last question is, how do you celebrate your wins, big or small?
Oh, how do I celebrate? I mean, the easy go-to is Prosecco.
Yes.
Cheers. But in our little fitness group, we have been taught to like not celebrate with food all the time. So if I had to say like a celebration, if it were big, I don't know lately. I think it was, this doesn't even feel big, but it would definitely be brunch with friends. Brunch.
With Prosecco.
And you have to dress up. And so, yeah, brunch with friends, mimosas. That would be like the big celebration these days. And small is just, if I had to pick one, it's a treat. Like mural hunting, I really like literally view that as a treat, because I usually drag my husband along. And so it's like a thing, like, and then we have to go make a date out of it. So that's always really cute.
Oh, that's so fun. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing those. I love it. Well, Andrea, this has been so much fun. First of all, we haven't chatted in a while. And it's so nice to catch up. So how can my people connect with you? Anyone who is interested in branding, and then also just following you, because you post inspiring and beautiful things. Like I said, the way you story tell life is just beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. And likewise. So Andrea TheoJohn is my personal handle. You can find me anywhere there. On all the places, but not Snapchat, because I'm I refuse to try it. I'm just never going to do it. No. I mean, they say never, but I really don't. No, I don't want to.
Oh, so funny.
Everything else I've tried, but Andrea TheoJohn, like Theodore, people are always like, how do you do that? Theodore is my husband's middle name, and John is from Johnson. So TheoJohn is like portmanteau, a little mashup of those names. So that's how that came. Yeah. So on his social media, his name is Mark TheoJohn. And for a moment, Janine, I tried to like make us legal. Like I was like, this would be so cool. It's like our new legal last name, like how celebrities do. And he was like, no. And I was like, well, can I just use it as my branding name, like digital, like the business world, like a DBA? And he was like, yeah, sure, I don't care. I don't think he thought I was serious. I don't think he thought I was like literally serious, but I got an award with that name on it. And he was like, you put that on the name, like you put that on your award. I said, yes, I did.
Girl, do you know this is the first time I did not realize that was not your last name. I thought that was your new last name when you got married.
It's a whole other thing. You do not have time to put it in this episode. But yeah, TheoJohn, it's just a branding experiment on myself. I was like, if I have to change my name, like I just really want a Googleable name. There's no other TheoJohn except for a little boy who plays basketball somewhere. So he doesn't count.
I love it. Oh, man. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for this. Oh, I've so enjoyed this. I appreciate just all that you shared, you being open to your journey. For my listeners out there, there were so many just beautiful nuggets that Andrea shared, and I appreciate. So some key takeaways for me was like that being open. When you were talking about releasing those expectations, we got to be open to it, right? And how you see, I would say not even just your marriage, right? But how your life can open up, whether that's in business, it's in other relationships with yourself, right? Releasing some of those expectations. That is key. The other thing is the purpose, identifying what your purpose is, whether that is in business or that's personal, and allowing what makes you feel good and what you're good at. I like how you said that combination, so beautiful, bringing those together to identify your purpose. And if something is not serving you, let it go. Yes. So, oh my gosh. And just the adventure, oh my gosh. That's why I said, I knew there were so many cool things that we were going to talk about, because how I described you as she's such a neat person. Like, and then I'm like, now let me tell you what I mean by neat. And today our conversation it showed that. So thank you so much for showing up and taking the time to connect with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you for uplifting my day on like the day of all days that could use some upliftment. This was perfect timing. So thank you. I'm glad to have talked to you too.
Oh, awesome. All right. Well, we'll chat. I'll see you on the gram.
All right.
Okay, bye. I'm over here doing a virtual dance because you just finished another episode of the Create a Magical Day podcast. Hit subscribe so you never miss a show, and share with a friend who could use a boost of joy. Visit createamagicalday.com for show notes, joy resources, and to join our email list for extra inspiration. If you're looking to connect with more joy creators like you, join my exclusive Joy Creators Facebook group. See you next week. Remember, every day may not be filled with joy, but you can create joyful moments every day. Go out there and make it a magical one.